Former Laker Derek Fisher survived a major crash on the 101 freeway today, but then he was arrested on suspicion of DUI.
Welcome back to UNT Sports. Derek Fisher was arrested on an alleged DUI charge and also flipped his car over the 101 freeway in Los Angeles.
We remember exactly where we were when Derek Fisher drained that 3 over San Antonio. Just 0.4 seconds left, the whole LA crowd holding its breath, Kobe Bryant practically levitating with relief. That was Fisher, cool under pressure, a general in sneakers, the kind of guy every GM wants in their foxhole when the shot clock shrinks and every pass is a hand grenade. 5 NBA rings don't lie. For a minute, he was the pulse of LA championship culture, the quiet assassin who held it all together when the game got wild. Fans saw him as a model of leadership, a locker room anchor, a man you could trust. And if you spent long enough around the Lakers in the early 2000s, you'd catch whispers that Fisher was the one who held that Kobe Shaq soap opera together, with nothing but sharp looks and low-voiced advice. Those who watched from the stands saw only the medals, the banners, the highlight reels on loop, but behind the shine, the cracks were already starting.
What a star he was for the Lakers here at Staples Center for so many years, and for Lakers fans, there is one highlight that really stands out.
We love a rise, but what's juicier than a fall? Derek Fisher's unraveling didn't come all at once. It was slow, messy, like a championship ring slipping off a sweaty finger and rolling under the bleachers. The headlines had always been friendly, even when he jumped teams, even when Phil Jackson took a gamble and handed him the keys to the most dysfunctional team in Manhattan. But it was never a missed shot or a blown play that took Fisher down. It was the chaos off the court. There's something about a leader who's bulletproof on the hardwood and then stumbles on the home front that feels almost mythic. By the time the betrayals came to light, we could almost hear the theme music shift from highlight reel strings to tabloid drums.
I did hear there was like a drama with a girlfriend or something like that I can't remember who the other person was, but
Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes, right?
Yes.
Ask any veteran. Every NBA locker room has a code, unspoken but ironclad. Fisher broke it in spectacular front-page fashion. The Matt Barnes, Gloria Govan debacle wasn't just a violation, it was the sort of scandal that makes GMs turn their phones off for a week and teammates change seats on the plane. Fisher, the same man who captained Kobe to glory, started dating Barnes' estranged wife, Gloria Govan, while the ink was barely dry on divorce papers. That's not just stepping over the line, it's setting up a lounge chair on the wrong side and popping a bottle of bubbly. What made it all the more jaw-dropping was how public it got, fast. Barnes, never the most subtle man in the league, allegedly drove across town, whether it was 15 minutes or 95 miles, depends on who you believe, to confront Fisher after his children called in distress, whispering that, "Mommy's friend Derek is here." We've seen brawls before, but this one was raw family drama. Live on TMZ, the cops called, no charges filed, but reputations shredded.
Fisher had a relationship. You guys were friends.
Yeah.
Derek started dating Gloria without you actually knowing. And I guess he actually started staying at your house with your sons in the house.
Yeah.
Then you found out one day, and you were roughly 95 miles away.
Yeah.
Barnes didn't keep it subtle either. He already caught these hands. You can be next, Barnes snapped at a heckler years after the fact, still living rent-free in the internet's memory. Fisher tried to play it cool, as if the chaos in Redondo Beach had nothing to do with his job. Personal and private matters will remain private, he said. But we all saw the bruises, real or metaphorical. The brotherhood code, that invisible wall of trust that makes or breaks a team, lay in ruins. Insiders whispered that the Knicks front office took one look at the headlines and started quietly drafting his exit papers. Even the NBA's own investigation left the story twisted and unresolved, with only one thing certain: whatever Fisher did, the basketball world would never see him the same way.
First people I see are Gloria and Derek, so I turn the corner, take off on him. Everybody starts screaming, and she had people over, a bunch of people over. So I hit him, he falls into the sliding glass door.
Okay, so you actually punch him in the face, and you connect. Okay.
And hit him and knock him into the sliding glass door. And then I'm jumped on by like 3 or 4 dudes. Everyone's screaming. All the girls are telling me to stop, Matt, stop, Matt.
It's one thing to lose friends, another to lose your public. The Fisher-Govan-Barnes triangle mutated from messy breakup to ongoing trench warfare. The restraining orders, the social media jabs, the school parking lot showdowns, every episode seemed to add another layer of humiliation. Govan was arrested at her twin school for an alleged reckless confrontation with Barnes, who claimed she plowed through the parking lot with her giant Escalade and put everyone at risk. That's not family drama, that's a made-for-television car chase. Except this time, there are real children watching through the window. Courts handed Barnes temporary custody, ordered professional monitors, stacked up enough parenting classes and anger management sessions to fill a whole off-season. All the while, Fisher stood by Govan, buying her $1 million diamond ring, making sure no one missed the message. He wasn't backing down.
This dude around my kids and you didn't tell me. You know what I mean? Like, you got this dude in my house and you didn't tell me. Like,
Which you're paying for, by the way.
yeah.
Which makes it a little,
Right.
little stingier.
Right. So I'm just like, and then she cops like a little attitude where like, you can't tell me who I can be with, and hangs up on me. I'm like, okay.
Every new headline bled into the next. Was Fisher a homewrecker, or just a guy who fell for the wrong person at the wrong time? Was Barnes the jilted ex, or the desperate dad? None of it helped Fisher's reputation when his coaching career crashed and burned in New York. He'd been hired as a savior for the Knicks, Phil Jackson's old comrade, a guy who understood the triangle, as if geometry could save Madison Square Garden. Instead, the team spiraled. 40 wins, 96 losses, and a locker room described by one veteran as chaos with a clipboard. Players whispered about a coach distracted by personal fires back home. Security staff and front office officials found themselves fielding tabloid calls instead of basketball questions. And the media circus loved every second. When Fisher missed practice after the fight with Barnes, he claimed personal reasons. The city didn't buy it. In New York, there's no such thing as a private meltdown.
I viewed it as Matt and I played together for one season. It was 5 years prior to when Gloria and I started having a conversation after we both had filed for divorce and going through a divorce process. I didn't view it as a unwritten code thing. I don't view life in that.
Still, the drama didn't end at home or on the sideline. Enter the burglary, the so-called staged break-in that ripped away Fisher's most precious possessions, 5 championship rings, gone in a morning. Police said the thief slipped in through a side door, took jewelry worth more than $300,000, and disappeared without a trace. For a man who'd just been dragged through the national press, the timing raised eyebrows from LA to the league office. Was this a random crime or something darker? Some insiders pointed out how public Fisher had been about his divorce, his new relationship, his lavish lifestyle. A few old teammates even wondered out loud, was it insurance? A play for sympathy? Or just the universe's final middle finger to a man already tumbling from grace? The LAPD never found a suspect, but the loss was permanent. The rings, his tangible proof that for one golden run he really was a champion, vanished into pawn shop oblivion.
I'm too grown for that, and those kids don't deserve that. So he can say whatever, other people can say whatever. I know who I am. My mom, my dad, my fiance, my kids, the people that know me and love me, they know who I am. So I don't have to worry about somebody else trying to define me as me. It's just for me to live and do me.
If you were hoping for a bounce back, you came to the wrong episode. By now, Fisher's grip on respect, on legacy, on even the family he'd rebuilt with Govan seemed as wobbly as a late-night Uber. The Govan-Barnes custody battle dragged on, producing more paperwork than points per game, each legal twist another punchline for sports talk radio. At home, Fisher was forced to sell off his California mansion for less than $3 million, a price cut that stung almost as much as losing his job. The estate was loaded with luxuries, pudding green, full basketball court, marble baths, the whole suburban dream. Now, all someone else's. Even his new love came with a ring so large it could stop traffic. $1 million, please let's put this behind us, that only seemed to inflame the tabloids further. Of course, when it rains, it pours. In the midst of this hurricane, the real storm was still gathering. Fisher, once the king of late-game composure, found himself spinning out literally on a Los Angeles freeway at 3 a.m. This was no ordinary fender bender. His white Cadillac Escalade, a car, of course, registered to none other than Matt Barnes, careened off the 101, flipped end over end, and landed on its roof. Next to him, Govan, unscathed but rattled, as police pulled Fisher from the wreck and hit him with the DUI. It's almost too poetic, the image of a man who once guided teams through chaos, now completely upside down on the side of the road. Police called it a miracle that nobody was hurt. Fisher pled no contest, traded a potential prison sentence for community service, an ignition lock, and the kind of public shaming you don't come back from.
I don't base my decision on whether or not I like you because of the color of your skin or who you go out with. I can only decide that between a relationship with you and knowing you. So for people that have judged or criticized me or questioned my character or my integrity based on something you read in the media that only one person is telling you happened, well, that's your problem for judging me. That's not mine.
All those years holding the line, making the tough decisions, keeping the faith, gone in a flash of glass, metal, and court-mandated MADD panels. The court record says he's just another NBA name with a DUI. But the backstory? That Escalade belonged to Barnes, the man whose life he upended, the man whose kids still saw Fisher as the cause of their family's ruin. They are beyond grateful that we are both okay and that no one else was involved. This statement read, but no one really bought it. Fisher's life had become a kind of slow-motion car crash, and for the millions watching, the question was no longer if he'd recover, but just how much lower he could sink. We can still see the scene as if it's frozen in the Hollywood Hills fog. 3 a.m. on the 101, a white Cadillac Escalade skidding across the freeway, steel groaning, glass bursting, and a rain of splinters under the pale overpass lights. Derek Fisher, former 5-time NBA champion, clutch player of legend, now crawling out of the mangled wreck, dazed and reeking of poor choices with Gloria Govan beside him. Every inch of her reality TV fame suddenly very, very real. The airbags are punched out, the hood is twisted, and the world's most cursed Escalade, registered to Matt Barnes just for that last surreal slap, is perched on its roof, sirens closing in. Fisher's dynasty rings already gone from his jewelry drawer, his career in ruins, and now the whole mess is smeared across every morning show from LA to New York. Was this a low point or a message from the universe that Fisher's old luck was officially out of gas?
And so I was just going through a lot mentally, and I was smoking a lot of to kind of keep me on edge. Lucky if I wasn't smoking, who telling, what could have ended up happening. Because I really feel like, although I had a few outbursts, that if I didn't have the would have been a lot more.
For those of us following the story in real time, the whispers started immediately. Was this crash just a night gone wrong or something Fisher saw coming for months? Several sources close to the couple insist Gloria Govan did everything possible to keep Fisher's habits out of the headlines. A rumor even floated that Fisher spent time in a secret rehab, hush-hush and off the books, with Gloria negotiating with paparazzi and tabloid fixers behind the scenes. If true, it paints a picture of a household under siege, fighting desperately to protect a reputation already crumbling. The official statements were all gratitude and privacy pleas, but the back channels hummed with speculation that Govan's fierce loyalty only enabled Fisher's spiral, letting him play the part of family man in the daylight, while the nights grew longer and riskier. The NBA never commented, but even among ex-teammates, the rumor clung to Fisher like the smell of cheap gin after a wedding brawl. The consequences, predictably, crashed in like a tidal wave, with a criminal record for DUI, a wrecked Escalade, and a life that seemed to play out exclusively in police reports and viral clips. Fisher's legacy was being rewritten in real time. Those 5 championship rings, now somewhere in the LA underworld, became a metaphor for everything he'd lost, not just the hardware, but the respect, the myth, the chance to be remembered as something more than a cautionary tale. Former fans and colleagues who once called him a glue guy now shut him out of their group chats. Even Kobe Bryant, whose loyalty Fisher once earned in overtime, reportedly stopped picking up the phone. Old Laker greats who'd previously toasted Fisher at alumni dinners started referring to him in the past tense. The invitation to coach, to broadcast, to just be part of the club all vanished with his last shot at dignity.
It's to be taken seriously. I don't know why I was beating around the bush saying it's unfortunate. I mean, Derek Fisher seems like he's been most of these cases.
Yeah.
Regardless, and look, when Matt Barnes comes out to look like the good guy in any position, no offense to Matt Barnes, and as J.R. Jackson has always defended Matt Barnes being very real, I respect that opinion of J.R. Jackson's. Maybe Derek Fisher needs to really get his ish together.
It's easy to forget just how complete Fisher's banishment became. The Knicks debacle was bad enough, players whispering about lost authority, assistant coaches privately venting that Fisher was distracted, off his game, never really present. But in the years after the crash, every attempt at redemption seemed to boomerang. Fisher dipped a toe into reality television, guest spots here and there, but his name was radioactive. Viewers remembered the Escalade, not the buzzer beaters. At one point, he took a job coaching at a local high school, a move that might have been noble if it didn't feel like exile. Even that went sideways. Parents questioned his influence, former Lakers publicly debated whether Fisher's leadership was just a myth all along, a few local sports writers compared him to other fallen stars, redemption stories that never stuck, apologies that sounded more like punchlines.
Not realizing that her Bluetooth comes on in the car. It's just like a movie. So her Bluetooth, so her whole conversation stops the boys' movie. They don't really pick up on it, but I'm just like, yo, I know this voice, and I hear, baby, I miss you, and I can't wait to see you again, and we had so much fun in New York. I'm like, what the that's Derek's voice. So that's the first time I'm like, what the
The image of Fisher, once the poised captain of LA's greatest modern dynasty, now living in the shadow of his own mistakes, struck a raw nerve. His attempt to return to basketball commentary flopped. Producers didn't want the baggage. Magazine profiles dried up. For years, Fisher had worn his clutch reputation like armor. Now he wore a target. Fans who once cheered his every move now trolled him on social media, resurrecting old memes, Barnes jokes, and every detail of the Escalade disaster. Even his marriage to Gloria Govan became fodder for internet detectives. with some claiming on suspiciously well-followed gossip accounts that she'd only stuck around for the tabloid heat, not the love. A former road manager claimed the couple lived in different wings of the house, barely speaking except for press appearances. The Govan Fisher home, once a showpiece of post-basketball affluence, sold for less than expected, luxury features and desperation, and bought almost all of it by order, despite a healthcare crisis and mismanagement, as if the market itself could smell the desperation.
There was the Matt Barnes incidents, where Matt Barnes allegedly showed up into his backyard, or Derek Fisher allegedly showed up in Matt Barnes' backyard because their exes are together in some way or another. He has gone on record complaining about Matt Barnes, or at least making the note that it's a thing with
The real tragedy was how completely Fisher lost control of his own narrative. Here was a player whose whole career was about steady hands, calm under fire, the anti-meltdown. Now, every headline, every public sighting screamed chaos. The league quietly distanced itself, refusing to invite Fisher to key NBA events or even the occasional halftime ceremony. It was as if he'd been written out of the history books, his 5 rings gone for good. Fans, especially in LA, debated whether Fisher had ever really been a legend or just a passenger on Kobe's bullet train. For every one old highlight clip, there were 10 new stories about the break-in, the crash, the bitter custody battles, the sense of a man living in permanent apology. As for Barnes, he never let the story rest. Social media, interviews, podcasts, he reminded the world that Fisher had crossed a line, the brotherhood code still tattooed on every retelling, and Fisher's own attempts at reconciliation always felt hollow. He once told Fox Sports, whether or not people had or have an issue with it, I'm at a place where that's not my concern anymore. But it wasn't true. You could see it in every stiff handshake, every awkward smile at public events, every time his name trended for the wrong reasons. It's a rare thing to watch someone so disciplined, so controlled, yet completely swallowed by forces he once claimed to master. And it didn't end with the career or the reputation. There were real, lasting consequences. Family cut off, friendships shattered, a legacy in shambles. Fisher's own children, kept largely out of the spotlight, grew up hearing his name in connection with the worst kind of drama. The Govan twins, raised in a swirl of custody filings and tabloid headlines, became the unwilling stars of a saga that outlived everyone's patience. It was as if Fisher's story was cursed to play on repeat, with every attempt to move forward boomeranging back to that fateful triangle: Fisher, Barnes, Govan. Even the press, usually so quick to move on, kept coming back for more. New rumors popped up every year. Was Fisher secretly writing a tell-all? Was Barnes planning a lawsuit? Was another shoe about to drop?
Fisher has really not seemed to have a great hold on, I guess, all of his life in the last year and a half. There's been a lot of drama surrounding him. For one,
the lesson, if there is one, feels almost too bleak to say out loud. Sometimes the story doesn't end with a comeback. Sometimes the final act is just more unraveling, more regret, more questions left unanswered. Fisher tried everything: new jobs, new image, new apologies, but the crowd never forgave. The 5-time champion, the glue guy, reduced to a punchline, a meme, a reminder that glory is one bad night away from vanishing. Even his stolen rings have never resurfaced, somewhere out there in the LA darkness, lost to history like so much else in his life. Yet we have to wonder, is this really the end of the Derek Fisher saga, or just another intermission before the next scandal drops? There are whispers out of Sherman Oaks that more stories are waiting, that secrets about Fisher's lost years could still come to light. Could a redemption arc really be off the table forever? Or does this league, with its short memory and taste for second acts, still have a plot twist left? Let us know what you think. Is Derek Fisher's legacy finished for good, or are we all just waiting for the next shoe to drop? Drop your wildest theories and bold predictions in the comments below. Until the next big headline lands, stay curious, stay tuned, and remember, in the world of fallen stars, no story is ever really over.